a lot of jobs floating. You would definitely see a lot of jobs floating in the market with ServiceNow business analyst and ServiceNow business process consultant roles. Now, having said that, how you described the roles and responsibilities is quite right. So my so all these years, when I've been working with ServiceNow, how I would explain it is you need to be best friends, or you need to be the middle layer with your customers, and at the same time you would have a handshake mechanism with your internal team as well. So when I say handshake mechanism, you would need to coordinate with your internal development team or with set of your developers. Now this is the basic and the primary role and responsibility. So having said that, now if we go a step further, so what are some of the key elements that a business analyst has to perform? So we will talk about ServiceNow in depth later on. We'll talk about um, what are the core elements in ServiceNow. How do you become a successful business analyst? So we'll come to that later on. But for now, we just need to focus on what and who is a business analyst, and then we'll come to ServiceNow business analyst, and we'll talk about ServiceNow. So the very first thing that you need to do is, so basically you would be acting as a bridge between your customer and your internal team. Now, when I say bridge, again, there needs to be a lot of coordination work. There needs to be a lot of liaison work. You would be the one who would be actively involved in the handshake mechanism. A. Now, this is the very simple and basic responsibility, I would say. Now, what are some of the key elements that you basically look forward in a business analyst? The very first thing that you look in a business analyst is you need to be confident, you need to be proactive, and you need to ask a lot of questions. Now, regardless, so when I say questions, I will simply break it down into 5 or 6 components. So you would be asking lots of what's, why, how, when, and where. So as simple as that. So you basically ask all those questions, and then you try to jot down the requirement. Now this seems to be fundamental rule. So if I further break down or decompose this theory into steps, the very first thing that you need to be doing is you would be basically conducting a workshop session with your customers. So when I say workshop sessions or workshops, or also called as JAD, joint application design sessions with the customer, um, you would be talking about the process of that particular module or basically application which is present in the service now. A very simple example, you might heard of this terminology ITIL. Have you heard of this terminology ITIL?
Yeah.
So ITIL is a framework which basically encapsulates incident, problem, change, knowledge release. Now, these set of modules are also encapsulated in ServiceNow, and we have different modules. So ITSM is one application, I would say, and which basically consists of incident, problem, change. Similarly, we have ITBM module, we have CSM, customer service management module, so on and so forth. So let's take a very simple example, incident. So let's suppose there is a customer. Let's suppose the customer is in healthcare department, and they come up with the need that they need to develop their incident management application or incident management module. So what happens within the organization to begin with is your sales team, the sales team of, let's suppose you used to work for an organization, the organization that you just said. So that organization, the sales team of your organization gets in touch with this healthcare industry. They do all their preliminary work and homework. They sort of onboard the customer. with specific set of numbers and specific set of pricing code and details. Once the customer has been onboarded, then basically we have a pre-sales team within an organization, and they sort of gather elementary information. Now they would do their homework, like what are the licenses needed, what are the different set of modules that are in place, uh, and then again, how do you decompose it further? Is it an elementary module? Is it a high level module with lot of licenses? And then you have all those questions. Then comes basically the picture of business analyst. Now, when you work in a ServiceNow domain, you would be working in a delivery I would say delivery model. So when I say delivery model, you would be basically a part of team. So essentially, or ideally, the team, or practically, or I would say theoretically, the team would consist of these members: A, engagement manager slash project manager; B, a business analyst; three, a set of developers as per the requirement; and fourth, testers, or so called as QA. So we have come to this part. Now,
Would
basically,
you
let's
like to share
suppose
your screen?
I'm not in front of the system right now, but
Okay.
we can talk about the elementary steps, and then I can share.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, we can share the process documents as well, and we can walk through it as well. So maybe you can open Now Create for the time being when I'm talking. So we can open Now Create, please. Mm, am I audible?
Yeah.
Ashok, are you there?
Yeah, yes. Yeah, you can share it.
Okay.
I'll
Are
stop the screen share.
Are you sharing your screen? That's okay if you are sharing your screen. So what I would suggest you to do is just open Now Create link in ServiceNow in the meantime when I'm talking.
Okay.
Okay, Priyanka, are you with me so far? Are
Yeah.
you able to follow the discussion?
Yes.
Perfect. So feel free to stop in between, feel free to ask questions, and I want this to be more of an interactive session rather than me talking about things. Okay?
Sure. Okay.
Sounds good. So yeah, so basically being a business analyst, so you would be working in a team, and that team is called as delivery team. So being a business analyst, you're asked to basically work on or gather the requirements for incident management, for example.
Okay.
Now, the very first thing you need to know is what is the process of incident management? Um, what does incident stand for? What does incident do? Um, what is the life cycle or process flow of these modules, like incident, problem, change? How are they connected with each other? And um, and then you sort of conduct a workshop. You deliver the workshop. There are a lot of out of the box workshops which are there are a lot of out of the box process guides which are available, which ServiceNow have beautifully created. So basically we can leverage all those Now Create documents. So Now Create, okay, so let me talk about Now Create. Now Create is one of the sites which are created by ServiceNow, and you get a lot of documents which are pre-constructed by ServiceNow. So basically they have created process guides, they have created process documents. They have starter stories. So starter stories are something which they have purposefully kept for you to analyze and create something on similar lines, or add additional details as per the requirement. Are you with me so far?
Um, I could not get this now create thing. What do you
Okay, so
mean by?
basically it's okay. So let's make it more simple. Now Create is one of the websites by ServiceNow. So in this
Mm-hmm.
particular website, what they've done is they've added process documents
Okay.
module wise, as simple as that. So they've included process documents, and they've included starter stories, which are out of the box.
Okay, got it.
All right. So basically, let's suppose, okay, so now coming back to the point, you're asked to deliver again or lead a workshop on incident management. So the very first thing is, what exactly is incident? Do you know by any chance what does incident stand for? What is incident? Just anything generic. I'm not looking for a right or wrong answer here, but anything that you can that you feel or you have knowledge about.
Hmm. Any error reporting kind?
Okay, so let me talk about it. Not exactly error reporting kind. So what is an incident in ITIL language? Okay, so the full form of ITIL is
Mm-hmm.
information technology infrastructure library. This is a framework. Okay, this
Okay.
framework basically has different subdivisions or subsections like incident, problem, change, release, knowledge. So to begin with, what is an incident? So as per the bookish language, it goes by any unplanned error or any unplanned outage which
Mm-hmm.
occurs immediately and ruptures the system, that is called an incident. Okay,
Okay.
for example, let's suppose we are conducting this meeting on Zoom, right?
Mm.
And let's
Yeah.
suppose all of a sudden Zoom's has crashed and we are not able to join or we are not able to access Zoom. Now, the users of our company ABC, they would create an incident via a tool. So this incident can be created in ServiceNow. Okay,
Oh,
so let's
okay.
suppose one or many user when they create an incident, you're trying to basically report an issue.
Mm-hmm.
So once you sort of create an incident, then this ticket or yeah, so once you sort of create an incident, this record which is created in the system, it is called an incident.
Okay.
Now this incident will be routed to a particular um, group or queue. And simply, if you look forward, so basically the agenda is this will be routed to service desk queue. So they have it's either their responsibility if they can fix the issue, or else they can also route it to a further team like networking team, database team, so on and so forth, to basically fix the issue. So in short, what I'm trying to say is any unplanned interruption or outage in the ongoing IT services, that is referred to as an incident. Again, Zoom is working perfectly fine and suddenly it has crashed. That refers to an incident. Um, I don't know. So if you're working on, let's suppose the software crashes for one or many employees in an organization, that qualifies to be an incident.
Yeah.
So basically, users can report to an issue, and that is an incident. So again, now this is a very basic example and definition of incident management that I've given. So in ServiceNow, you need to know the process, like how an incident flows from phase A to phase Z. So what is the start of the life cycle of an incident? How does an incident start? And how does the life cycle or the process flow of incident end, and how does it end, where does it end, um, what are the roles and responsibilities, or what is the RACI metrics? Do you know anything about RACI
No,
metrics?
no idea.
Have you heard? Okay, so RACI stands for uh, responsible, accountable, consulted, informed. So basically, who at a given point in time are the person who would be responsible to take care of an incident, who is accountable for that particular incident, and who would be consulted and informed respectively. You need not get too overwhelmed by RACI and everything. I think we will break down slowly and steadily. So my intent is basically to talk about the role first of all, business analyst role, and then we'll talk about service now and how you should proceed as well.
Okay.
Are you with me so far?
Yeah.
Okay, any questions for me?
No.
All right. So you know about incident management a bit, and then you basically conduct a workshop. So let's suppose you conduct the workshop. So you would invite, or your engagement manager, they would invite folks from customers end or clients end um, to basically join the workshop. Now, more often than not, um, the modules that I've stated, like incident, problem, change, knowledge, release, they are the bread and butter of the industry in ServiceNow. Like more often than not, most of the clients have been using ITSM module or ITSM application.
Mhm.
Now, so most of them would be familiar with the process, but still your responsibility would be to guide them about incident management, which is as a whole, as a process holistically, and then also what does platform has to offer for you, because incident management is in ServiceNow. Okay, incident
Okay.
management, problem management, they're out of the box inbuilt in ServiceNow. We'll come to that. How does that look? What does the form look like? What is the process in detail? So we'll come to that all later on.
Okay.
So you conduct the workshop A, B, you gather the requirements, um, you send them documents, you send them data capture sheets to basically capture the details. You ask all those relevant questions proactively about the process. You would ask them like, do you have an existing process currently which is in service now? Um, or are you trying to improve your current process? Are you trying to are you currently already on service now, or are you trying to implement incident management for the very first time in service now? So these would be some of the elementary questions.
Mm-hmm.
What is your future goal? What does your future goal look like? What is the end goal that you're trying to achieve? um, and also you would be asking, how familiar are you with incident management? What is your comfort level with incident management? So once you sort of analyze and gauge their expertise and knowledge, then you basically tweak incident management or any application or anything that is thrown to you. You tweak the material and then you give presentation and demonstrations. So you conduct the workshop, you gather the requirement, you send them different sheets, or you send them different PPTs to basically capture the requirement, and then you create the stories. Now, ideally, um, so you create the stories in Agile. Have you heard of Agile? Have you
Yeah.
heard of
Yeah.
Scrum?
Yeah.
So basically, we have Agile module in ServiceNow as well. So beneath this module, so if you open up the form view of Agile, you simply create a story being a business analyst. And then your roles and responsibilities would be to enhance or add color to that particular story. So you have different attributes or different fields on the story, like short description, acceptance criteria. You have points, um, epic and release and all those stuff, all those jazzy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that is where your main responsibility is to basically gather all the requirement and then articulate it beautifully in the story so that it becomes easier for a developer to pick up, or capture the details.
Okay.
So once you have articulated everything in the story, then probably it needs to be reviewed by somebody who's more technical, like an architect or a solution architect. They basically review your story. They can add more technical colors to the story so that it can be picked up by the developer and they can start working. Once this has been developed, then the ideal role, like, basically you would I would suggest that you do the initial testing or BPC testing. And once you see that, okay, this has been developed successfully in ServiceNow, then you move on and you pass on the baton to the QA team or the testers. So their responsibility is to test the story extensively. If they find any defects or if they report any defect, then it has to be fixed instantaneously as per the release plan, and the developer has to fix those defects.
Okay.
So once that has been done, you do the demonstration. So basically, whatever the requirement is, you demonstrate it to the customer. Then customer has to finally approve. They sign off stating that the requirement ABC has been fulfilled. You take off their sign off, and then the implementation can be successfully closed. So
Okay.
in nutshell, that is the role and responsibility of a business analyst, first of all, in ServiceNow. Now, I'm not sharing any document. I'm not sharing my screen because I don't want you to get overwhelmed with too many details or stuff at this point in time. I just want you to basically have some detail or some granular detail about business analyst and ServiceNow for now. And when
Got it.
time comes, we can of course talk about process material, workshop material, and how do you. So before you talk about process, what are some of the elementary steps and knowledge that you require to be a successful business analyst? Do you need to know a lot about ServiceNow? Do you need to take any courses like admin course, maybe a ServiceNow administration course? So we can come to that discussion later on in our second class or third class. So in nutshell,
So,
this is
yeah,
responsibility.
is there any to articulate all these things? There would be a pattern or already pre-built pattern.
Good question. Great question. So as I said, so we have now create website. Okay. So Ashok, if you're there with me, so the website would be now create. Just Google now create service now. Now create is one word.
Yeah, he opened. I think we need to sign in.
No, so this is not the page. So
Okay.
nonetheless, so I'm not in front of the system. So now create dot service now.com is one website. So if you
Okay.
log into that now create portal via your company's credential, okay, because they have the access. I don't think everybody has the access. So once you sort of open this now create website, so there would be two options. The first is the first is starter stories. So to your answer your question, starter stories are set of example stories that they give to you. So for incident management, they will give you all those starter stories. They will have that PPT already pre-built. So you can view those stories and then construct on similar lines, as I said. Now Create also has process guides as well, process documents as well. And then you can create on similar lines as well. So they give you all those elementary information, and it will definitely help you. And I'm here
Sure.
to help you as well. I will guide you on. So before even we talk about starter stories and process things and the nitty gritties of ServiceNow business analyst, I think again it is important to know what fundamental knowledge do you need in ServiceNow to be a business analyst. Because ideally you should be having some sort of platform knowledge or some sort of details to basically deep dive, and then you would be comfortable with ServiceNow, conducting workshops in ServiceNow framework as well.
Okay.
What questions do you have, or how comfortable do you feel with what I've spoken so far?
Good. As of now, I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, what you'll start with, like, you'll teach the admin side or just the basics of service now?
No, so
Or is it?
I will proceed with the business analyst course of ServiceNow, and I'll guide you about the roles and responsibilities of business analyst. I'll give you a course, and before we deep dive into process and things like those, so we have something called as PDIs in ServiceNow. PDIs is personal development instance. So personal development instance is a free of cost ServiceNow instance which is given to all of us.
Okay.
And so basically, then I'll show you how ServiceNow instance looks like. What are different plugins? How do you enable incident problem change? How does a salesperson communicate effectively? Or what are the details that salesperson or pre-sales team have captured? Because then your responsibility and your role would start kickstart. So essentially, it might or it also would require to coordinate with pre-sales team as well initially, although you would be part of delivery team. So I'll talk about all those things first, and then we will deep dive into. I'll show you the PDI as well, and then I'll talk about a course or a structure of ServiceNow business analyst. So there is one course which is specified in ServiceNow. So we have another website which is called as Now Learning in ServiceNow. Just like Now Create, we have something called as Now Learning as well. So once you sort of log in Now Learning, there are a lot of different courses in ServiceNow. Again, this might not be free for you because you're not an authorized partner. For example, if I'm working for an organization, so that organization has purchased some licenses from ServiceNow, so I can enroll on those courses. I can learn about those courses. So I'll try to give you an access if possible, and
Okay.
maybe I'll give you access to all those videos. So that is how we'll start the course. I just don't want you to stuff you with the business analyst course. So I think it is important to build the foundation right, and then proceed as we move on.
Sure.
Makes
Okay.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I see a note from Ashok as well. Ashok, do you have PDI activated in your instance by any chance? Ashok, can you hear me? Am I audible, Priyanka?
Yeah. Yeah.
It seems to be a no. So yeah, so that is all about ServiceNow, and other than business analyst role as well, we can proceed with this course, and then we have different roles in ServiceNow as well. So in North America specifically, we have a lot of openings for ServiceNow business analyst role as well, and there are a lot of opportunities in the market, and I think it's going to be a good start for you. And other than ServiceNow business analyst, we have ServiceNow developer course or developer role. You will get to see a lot about architect role as well. Then you have roles for ServiceNow QA, you have roles for ServiceNow engagement manager, also called as project manager as well. So there are a lot of opportunities for these roles. And then, of course, you have opportunities for ServiceNow sales guy as well. So you can be ServiceNow in sales as well. But that won't be sort of too technical. That would be um, more from a sales perspective. So
Okay.
I think to kickstart with business analyst, I think you've made a good choice. And once you sort of know about the platform, you can deep dive into being into development role as well. Because if I heard you correctly, I think you have some knowledge on development of .NET products as well, correct?
Yeah.
So I think it should not be too difficult for you. So once you get into it, I think you will get to know more about what does ServiceNow APIs use, and what are the different modules. So if you're comfortable with HTML, CSS, JavaScript, then you can move on to the development role as well. And of course, there are APIs in ServiceNow, and ServiceNow has their own framework, which you need to utilize.
Got it.
Okay, so Ashok, if you see here, do you see the URL on the top which says dev8244.service-now.com?
Yeah.
And then you have username and password. So this is one PDI. So Ashok, you can try to log in the meantime, and then I'll talk about the PDI first with Priyanka. So this is one free out of the
This
box.
meeting will end in 2 minutes. Would you like to continue this session?
No, I think we can end for now, and then we can have another session scheduled, upcoming session scheduled. So
Okay.
Priyanka, to sum up quickly, so this is how, so once you sort of log in with username and password, you basically get the access, and then based on your roles, based on your access, different people can see different interfaces of ServiceNow. So since you are a business analyst, you would be granted a certain role. You can see all the forms in ServiceNow. You can see how different forms work, different processes work, and then you, I think, will be more familiar with the ServiceNow homepage, ServiceNow dashboard, ServiceNow reports, and all those things.
Okay.
So, for example, if you're working for TCS, so TCS, the URL of TCS might be tcs123.service-now.com. If somebody is working for Google, it might be google.service-now.com. So ServiceNow is one organization, and they've given their um, share to different customers or different partners, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So before we depart, any final thoughts? Any questions? Any concerns or anything that you feel it is necessary for you to ask, or
No,
any
I'm good.
lingering thoughts, basically?
I'm good as far as now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And were you able to get the gist of how I basically encapsulated things?
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah. So